Hey, I had one other important thing to tell you guys. Sometimes prophets can feel what God is feeling. Sometimes he will allow them to know how he feels about a matter, and they will actually feel it inside. Now we're going to talk about some of the kinds of messages God gives his prophets. He gives them messages of encouragement, and this is when God gives a message of hope, love, cheer, and joy to his people about something. They also give warning. That means they let the people of God know when something's wrong. They give messages of correction. And this is when the people of God are doing something wrong, and God will send a prophet to tell them the right thing to do. They also give messages of judgment. This is when God tells the people of God what they should be doing, and they refuse. And they do what is wrong instead, even though they know the right thing to do. So God will send a prophet to let them know that because they did not obey what the Lord has commanded them or has told them to do, that they're going to be in big trouble. It kind of sounds like us when it comes to things our parents tell us to do sometimes, huh? Sometimes we don't listen to them, and we do things that we know we shouldn't do, even though we know that we should do the right thing. And because we do the wrong things, what happens to us? We get in big trouble. Prophets also send messages of instruction or direction. This means that they tell the people of God how to do something or what to do about something. Or they tell the people of God exactly what God wants them to do concerning where he wants them to go. It kind of sounds like our school teachers, huh? Or our Sunday school teachers. When they give us our classwork, the first thing we must do is do what? Read the directions. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to do the work. God gives us directions so that we know how to follow him and how he wants us to live our lives. And these are some of the kinds of messages God gives his prophets for his people. Next, we're going to talk about some of the great miracles that prophets did. One prophet that I want to talk to you about today is the prophet Elijah. And you can find out all about him in the book of 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 17 to be exact. We're going to go there and we're going to look at some of the miracles he did. I'm going to tell you all about them. Not all of them, just some. One miracle in particular I want to talk to you about today is the miracle that God did in the city of Zarephath when Elijah met the widow woman. God called Elijah to the city of Zarephath where he met a widow woman. And when he met her, he asked her for a cup of water. And at that time, the widow woman did not really have a lot of food in her house. She didn't really have anything. She only had enough food for her and her son to eat that one day. She went and got Elijah a cup of water. And then when she arrived back to him, he asked her for a piece of bread. And when he asked her for a piece of bread, she told him she didn't have any bread. She told him all she had was a jar of oil and a tin of flour. And that was all she had to feed herself and her son. But because she believed that Elijah was a prophet of God, she did what Elijah asked her to do. She fixed him a piece of bread. When she came back, Elijah gave her a message from the Lord. And the message was this, that the flour which she had in her house would never run empty, and the oil would never run dry. And that's exactly what happened. She and her household were able to eat for many days because they listened to what Elijah told them to do. They listened to the word of the Lord that Elijah gave them. There's another miracle also in 1 Kings 17 where Elijah went to a city, and in that city he told the people that it would never rain until he spoke. And for 3 years it didn't rain. When it doesn't rain, that's called a drought. That's when it's very, very hot and it doesn't rain for weeks, months, or sometimes years. And the last story I want to tell you about is when Elijah needed a place to stay.